As Bitcoin barely manages to hold on to $88,000 to $89,000, is it turning out that Tom Lee has been lying to us this whole time? Jumping straight into Bitcoin right now, you can see we are holding, but it's struggling, right? We're holding between 85,000 and 88,000. Just about 20 minutes ago, we were at 89,000, but we have been rejected from there. And Bitcoin just isn't making any strong moves to the upside just yet. Now, I do believe that a lot of interest, a lot of excitement, and a lot of the money that would have been flowing into Bitcoin is not doing that anymore because people are losing faith. They're losing interest and they're looking elsewhere. They're looking at gold. They're looking at silver. And in fact, they're also, in my opinion, looking at the S&P 500 and NASDAQ, which actually closed green on Friday. So people's worry about the Japanese carry trade, right? So far for the stock market hasn't actually played out, but Bitcoin is yet to bounce from here. But of course, the Japan or Bank of Japan issues that people were worried about can still have fallout going into this week's open and opening into the new year. So patience is going to let us know what's going on there. In the short term with Bitcoin, the levels that I'm looking at, as you know, 85,000 to hold here. The more times we try 85,000, the more likely it is for us to break. And then really we have up to about 92,000 for the bullish side. Hopefully we can break above it, but right now we are just right in the middle of a channel, 85 to about $90,000 here. We've got to wait to see what will happen. As you know, I still am leaning on a bounce. Now that bounce might end up being bullish, as in like we continue the bull market, or it might be a dead cat bounce. Either way, I am positioning myself to benefit from either of those scenarios by being in long positions. Now, these aren't a lot of long positions. These aren't taking a massive amount of my trading bag and putting it in on a high leverage risk. No, this is a smaller position than what I've been showing you recently, simply because we're in unknown territory, right? We don't know how the liquidity is going to play out, and that's the most important thing. In a moment where nobody apart from us degens cares about Bitcoin, this is a moment, in my opinion, of opportunity. However, just because we've been here many times before doesn't mean this is going to play out the same way it always does. So we have to always protect the downside. And on to the big news of the hour. So Tom Lee, he keeps buying Ethereum. He keeps with these bullish outlooks on the market. $3 million for Bitcoin. Ethereum, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000. But something came out over the last couple of days, right? 2 days ago was when we first heard about that. Tom Lee's fund, Fundstrat, stated in its latest 2026 cryptocurrency strategy advice to internal clients that a significant correction is expected in the first half of the year, completely contradicting Tom Lee's public statements. So is he saying something publicly and then lying to us and then maybe protecting his people, or what's going on? Because I don't want to be lied to and I don't want to be misled. But again, guys, before we jump into this, whatever the reasons are, remember, don't blindly follow just one person's opinion. Find different people. Find someone on the bull side, find someone in the middle, find someone on the bear side, maybe multiple people, and then take that information, do your own research, and then come to your own conclusions. That's the only way you can win in this market. I'm telling you, I lost all of my money when I was blindly following just random people on the internet. Now, this internal report, right, it set targets of Bitcoin to 60 to 65,000, Ethereum to 1,800 to 2,000, Solana to $50 to $75. This comes moments after Tom Lee at Binance Week saying that Ethereum at 3,000 is severely undervalued. So what on earth is going on here? Is this guy just lying straight to our face? Well, we did have some information come out. All right, so this is what's going on, right? Tom Lee says Bitcoin up to 200,000 by January, which is, a month away. Ethereum flying up to 20,000. And we had someone come out and say, this is someone within Fundstrat. It's a Fundstrat customer giving us some insights. All right. So he's seen people point to screenshots and clips saying Fundstrat is contradicting itself. Tom Lee bullish, but Sean Ferrell is bearish. Who is Sean Ferrell? Well, he's the guy who actually wrote this, and this is head of digital asset treasury at Fundstrat. So what this is saying, right, is essentially, first, Fundstrat is not a one-man shop, and it's definitely not just Tom Lee. Different senior people have have different mandates. Tom Lee is the head of research, public macro voice, and runs Granny Shots ETFs, chairman of BitMine and Big Picture Cycle. Remember, BitMine, BMNR, is different to Fundstrat. It's not the same thing. And he's also a liquidity thinker. Sean Farrell is head of digital assets treasury, owns the crypto model portfolio and actual positioning, and he's also crypto native, flow and risk focused. There is also another guy, Mark Newton, veteran tech analysis, structured trend damage, and DMARC pattern repair. All right, so where they all agree, right? All three see real headwinds in early 2026, not just for crypto, but the markets broadly. Potential US government shutdown resurfacing, legal uncertainty, new Fed chair nomination, bond market stress, and treasury volatility. The consensus is 2026 is choppy and unstable, but they diverge in views. Sean Farrell is responsible for protecting and reallocating the crypto basket. So he believes there could be a pullback to 60 to 65,000 for Bitcoin and Ethereum down to 1.8 to 2K. This is, and Solana, of course. His reasoning, tax loss dynamics at the end of the year, minor selling pressure, post-halving, flow exhaustion, ETF cost basis clustering around 72, which is also, interestingly, the electrical cost of Bitcoin, and on-chain average closer to 59,000. Now, what I always think is people are using the electrical cost for Bitcoin as like the bear case. This is and that tends to be wrong, right? In the last bear market, everyone thought that the previous bull market high was going to hold, right? 19K. So when we came down to 19K, people got very bullish at that region, only for Bitcoin to fall even further. And you would be thinking right now, well, 19K to 16K, who cares? That's barely any different. And you'd be right to think that. But it's easy to think that up here at 80K when we're above 100K. But I tell you, when we're in the bear market, it's very scary. So if you were someone who said they were going to buy at 120 if Bitcoin dropped, oh, I just wish Bitcoin was 80K again. Oh, I wish Bitcoin was 60K again. I wish Bitcoin was 16K again. What I have to say to you is, in order for Bitcoin to get lower, the market has to be scary. And when I say scary, I mean like edge of war scary, fallout scary, collapsing scary, MicroStrategy imploding scary. That's what gets us to these cheaper prices. So when the market is scared, like it is right now, you are tested. Your belief system with your assets that you invest in are tested. If in this moment you don't want to be in this moment, you don't want to be in Bitcoin when everyone's scared, then don't be. Be in something else. Be in gold. Be in silver. Be in Pokemon cards. Be in something that you actually believe in. For me personally, it's very easy for me to buy Bitcoin as it falls because I've been here so many times before. And it's been scarier significantly than it is right now. And even in this moment, in 2021, Bitcoin dropped further. China was even more aggressive with their positioning of hating Bitcoin and Bitcoin miners. The market was even more bearish, and yet we still went on to make new highs. So even if Bitcoin comes down to 60,000, I've got to tell you guys, this is significantly lower than the bear market low that I've been in here and the bear market low that I've been in here. But the fact of the matter is, buying in these bear markets, buying in this bear market, turned out to be the best choice of my life. Will that continue? I don't know. Have I already taken profits from some of the bags? Absolutely. So we're just I'm just rinsing and repeating what I've done twice before. And that is going against the grain of the market, how the market feels, buying when everyone's scared, but doing it slowly over time with money I accumulate from my income. All right. So this guy, Sean, is saying that Bitcoin could go to 60,000. I'd let you know, guys, that 60,000 is a 52% pullback. Do you want to know what's crazy about that number? That's the same pullback we had here and then still went on to new all-time highs. The bear market can get significantly worse. The bear market is 77%. 77%, maybe we only go down 70% this time. That's $37,000. What will you do if that happens? That's the most important question you have to ask yourself. So all of this, right, this guy, head of digital asset strategy, is only saying that Bitcoin's fall could be exactly the same as the last one before in 2021, before we went on to new highs. All right, so that's to put it in perspective. For people who are new, I know this feels painful. I know this is scary, but this is the realistic nature of being a crypto investor. And this is what, if you can position yourself in the right asset, I believe it's going to be Bitcoin. It's also going to be Ethereum. It's also potentially Solana, just like they're talking about. But that could be wrong. But if you manage to position yourself in the right asset, which could also just be gold, or as simple as silver, or the S&P 500, or Pokemon cards, right? You can make a lot of money, all right? But there's no guarantees. But the reason you can make a lot of money is because there are no guarantees. If there were guarantees, guys, everyone would be a millionaire. Let me know what you think about Tom Lee, Fundstrat, and all of this going on down there in the comment section. I read all of the comments, so I love to check them all. And guys, remember, zoom out, chill out, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.